Please, have a seat. I'm sure you're aware why you're here. We don't have time to waste, so I'm going to cut to the chase. Are you willing to help us? There's no point in lying to me about who you are and what you're capable of doing. We've been tracking your activities for weeks. My superiors are impressed. They consider you our foremost candidate for this protector program of theirs. A beacon of hope in these dark days, they say. Someone who will proudly bear the title of superhero. But I'm not so blind. I've seen the personality profile results. Easily faked. I personally reviewed your background check. Meaningless. And I even saw the field footage captured by our agents, which was incomplete. I find it very unusual that our cameras started to malfunction right as the battle began. And it was a strange coincidence that you just so happened to stumble across our agent and rescue them from falling debris in the process. Just in the nick of time. Like something out of a movie. And that was enough to convince them of your good intentions. So I dismissed them from their position, gave them some time off to think things over, and to reach the same conclusions I have. I don't like coincidences. It's awfully convenient, don't you think? That you should be not only the first one to gain your powers, but also one of the strongest. And what luck, you chose to side with the forces of good against those evildoers breaking into banks and throwing their bosses off buildings. According to our field agents, over 90% of those blessed with these enchantments have used their powers for personal gain within a week. Some laid low, committed small crimes like pickpocketing. Others started showing up in the headlines for turning entire towns into their personal playgrounds. It's madness out there. So it is incredibly fortunate for us that you decided to fight them whenever they popped up. Tell me, why is it that we're so lucky? Silence won't get you anywhere. Do you know how many people have sat in that chair before you? 165. Do you know how many tried to outwit me? 165. And do you know how many eventually cracked? I'll let you take a guess. You see, I am nothing if not patient. I guess you could call that my superpower. Not impressed? Of course not. It's always like this in the beginning. Everyone who sits in that seat looks at me with the same dull impression. I dislike that. The mask you all wear to hide what you're really thinking. A few try to anger me, throwing some insults at me, mocking my suit, my physique. Some even resort to threatening me. Others try to tug at my heartstrings, begging me to believe them, appealing to my better nature, my sense of justice, or even asking in the name of a higher power. Some even tried to bribe me. What will you do, Staying silent. Smart. Very smart. You're one of the bright ones. Or maybe you're just unable to think of a comeback. It doesn't matter to me. All that matters is we get to the truth. That's what caught your attention. Then let's get right to it. Are you ready to tell me your story? How this is all just a big misunderstanding. That you're an ordinary citizen caught up in something out of your control. Do you want to tell me the demons made you do it? Or maybe it was the Fae or the merfolk? No reaction? I guess it wasn't them this time. Now you seem surprised. Were you expecting me not to know? Did your masters tell you that fairy tale about the masquerade, and how you're one of the chosen ones? That you can only see them because you have magic in your blood and an uncorrupted heart open to possibilities? Or some nonsense like that? No, that wasn't it, was it? Where did you get your powers? Brought them from a mysterious store? Went on an adventure to another world? Granted them by an alien from above the stars? Or did you make them yourself? Maybe you're one of those mad scientists, an experimenter perhaps. Your background check didn't suggest anything of the sort. But then, that's always the way it goes. One day you're tinkering away, and then some strange voice whispers unintelligible words into your ear. And then, blam! Just like that, you've invented a super serum or nanobots. Do you know how long it takes to clean up a nanobot leak? No matter. You don't have to say anything. I'll find out. I always do. Feeling a little funny, are we? Do you feel my tendrils extending into your thoughts? Relax. This won't take long. It doesn't hurt. Unless you fight it. Then it's going to be an excruciating couple of hours. Looks like the cat's out of the bag. Yes, you're right. I'm not human. No, my employers are entirely human, I'm afraid. It's what makes them weak. Humans are delicate little things, don't you think? So vulnerable to all the big, scary monsters running rodshod through these cities of light and sound. And yet the humans persist, perhaps all because of us monsters. Well, we like playing with our little humans. They're so entertaining. Maybe not all of us play nice, but we wouldn't want anyone to break our favorite toys. Or hurt our precious pets. You don't have to say a word. I'm already inside your mind, listening to your thoughts. Why not let me a little farther into those memories of yours? Oh, those are some nasty words. Do you really think you're capable of doing that to me? Do you even know what I am? No, I can see you have no idea. I'm the agency. No, not all of it. As I said, I have human superiors. And there are humans here, like that field agent assigned to observe you. I don't like it. Whatever it was you did to make them like you more than me. They are mine. So hands off them, okay? You seem confused. So let me get straight to the point. I am an entity who has been watching and protecting humanity for longer than you've existed. And in that time, I've spread myself out into my many, many bodies. In fact, I make up over 80% of this agency. I answer the phones, I sweep the floors, and I even sign the paperwork to send myself out on missions I planned. Am I Legion? That's a name I haven't heard in many years. A real troublemaker, if I recall correctly. No, I'm much older than that upstart. Now look, I don't like sticking my noses where they don't belong. But someone's got to tend to the flock. Someone has to protect them from the wolves. Have you ever wondered why there are so few werewolves left? They made such a mess of my toys. I'm not surprised that you haven't heard of me. I like to keep a low profile. If you were an ordinary threat, I'd have sent a few dozen bodies of mine to dispose of you. I've had a lot of practice playing soldier, and I've even learned to play special forces. It's impressive what games the humans can come up with. So weak, so limited, but oh so inventive. Which is why I'm going to rip your mind into tiny shreds and wring out the answers I need about who's behind the creation of all these superpowers. And when I find them, I'm going to show them just how inventive I can be. Oh? Have you changed your mind about cooperating with me? Wait, no need to answer that. I'm not the bad guy here. If you really want to be a hero, then let me into the deepest reaches of your mind so I can see where those powers came from. Think of all the lives that will be saved, including yours. There's no reason for us to be enemies. We could have a long and mutually beneficial relationship. After all, didn't you say you were willing to work with the agency? Well, here I am. Do you understand the gravity of what is happening out there? All those people playing at being superheroes and supervillains are going to tear down the walls between natural and the supernatural that I've spent so long building up. Humanity isn't ready to face what lies beyond those walls. A few superpowers scattered across their population won't protect them, especially when 90% of them are willing to prey on other humans. Think for a moment. Why were you given these powers? And why were those so-called supervillains given theirs? Let me share a little secret with you. It only takes a minuscule crack in reality to allow one of the Fae to slip through. And as much as I hate to admit weakness, even with all my abilities, I can barely manage to banish a single one of their lords. Which is why I was horrified to discover that each time one of you supers uses your powers, it tears open a triangular hole in another dimension. And when I looked through one, it wasn't to a plane that I recognized. That's when I saw it looking back at me. Whatever is on the other side is big, but it's watching, it's waiting, and if we don't stop this madness, one day it will finally be able to squeeze its way through. Remember what I said about patience being my superpower? I have outlasted every adversary I've ever encountered, and watch as entropy withered them away. But against this threat, My power is useless. Every day that passes brings that thing closer to crossing into our world. Unless we can find a way to rid ourselves of these cursed superpowers. Hmm? Oh, yeah, I believe you now. You really don't know anything, do you? Yes, I broke through your mental defenses while I was telling you about the cracks in reality. Surprise makes people lower their guard. I was able to slip in when you were distracted. Ah, so, hero. That's about the size of it. Superheroes and supervillains alike are going to doom us all, unless we rid the world of superpowers, including yours. So, this brings us back to the question: are you willing to help us?